What I want to talk about in this episode a lot was like the difference between parental relationship and sibling relationship, because it's your job as being like dad's best friend and wife.
Hello, namaste, Zarna Garg here with the Zarna Garg Family Podcast, and I'm so excited because all 5 Gargs are in the house today and we can't wait to get started. All 5 Gargs are here tonight. My middle schooler, I forgot for a second, my middle schooler, Veer Garg, my high schooler who just finished high school, heading off to college, Bridge Garg, my daughter who's in her last year of college, Zoya Garg, and my husband of 25 years, Wall Street veteran, Shalab Garg. We're all in the house and everybody is going to have an opinion on this topic. I'm telling you right now, and it is going to be hot. It is going to be sizzling. We are going to talk about siblings. Sibling relationships, sibling secrets, sibling hatred, sibling envy, sibling rivalry, all of it. Nothing is off limits. We want to hear all about our sibling relationships. Who has a strong opinion on the sibling situation? Who wants to go first?
I'll go first. I think, first of all, your siblings, in my opinion, should be your closest friends in the way that, actually, I told this to my mom one time, and that's that the only people in this world that are interests that are exactly in line with your interests are your family's interests, right? Those are the people that are the only people in the world that directly have the same interest in line with you. If you win, the family wins. If you lose, the family loses. That's how it works. So I think they are siblings, and I'm talking more like siblings right now than parents, because there's some things that you can talk about with your siblings that you can't talk about with your parents, because your parents' job at the end of the day is to like help govern you and make sure you grow into the person you should become, as well as being your friend. Whereas your siblings are there to like support you and tell you their honest opinions and give you some advice on, like, it could be anything: relationships, making stupid mistakes, going out late at night, lying to your parents. Like, it could be like a whole different thing. So I think that your siblings should be the closest people to you.
They should be, but are they?
Well, in my life, yes, but I know that there are a lot of like families where they aren't. And I think that if you're watching this and you feel like you're not as close to your sibling as like maybe we are, even though you wouldn't know that, I still think that you should make an effort to reach out to your sibling. Because I know that a lot of siblings would like to become really close to their siblings, but just won't make the effort. Or it's been so long since anyone's made an effort that they're just like, there's no point now. Like, we're both grown. That's just who we are.
It almost seems that some people with their siblings, like, they think it's uncool or something to be super close with your younger sibling. Or, I think one thing that Bridge, Veer, and I got really lucky about was mom and dad made it super. I remember when Bridge and I were really young, and Bridge and I became like, we were just inseparable growing up. And in the same way, we're all inseparable now. Like, I choose hanging out with my siblings over hanging out with any other person. I have no interest in hanging out with anyone else if they're free. But one thing that I think they did really well was they made it super cool that we were super close. They always would say, we're so glad that you guys are so close. And that made us feel really good about the fact that we were super close, I think.
I mean, we decided to have 3 kids. It was an active.
The third one was a bit of an accident, but
No, what?
no, we did decide. But you said that if it's a boy, I want to have it.
Okay, whatever.
What?
Why is
did
this
say
like
that.
just being uncovered now? I never knew this.
But it's a
Okay.
fact. She did say that.
But you're a boy, so it's fine.
Wait, why didn't you want another girl? Was it because of me?
No, not at all. It was just, we were just talking, so we made no sense.
It's not true. She
feels-
specifically said that
Okay.
I wish there was sex discovery in America. So if it's not a boy, I cannot have it. I'll choose not to have the kid.
You know what? If there was another girl in this house, I would be so jealous and annoying anyways, so.
Yeah, but the point is that we knew that for us to have our own actual family in America, we would have to birth it. Like, there's no other way. We are here.
How else do you have family?
No, but we don't have cousins and relatives in America. We don't have extended relatives. It's like a lonely existence, at least for me. You don't feel it as
I don't
much,
feel
but
it.
I do
I actually
feel
like
it.
the solitude. I mean, men like to be that way because we're hunters.
I don't know
I don't
about
know
that.
if that.
I know. Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
But the point is that we made a conscious decision to have 3 kids, which is the most we could handle and afford and all of it. And we've done everything together. We've dragged each kid around to every other kid's events and things because we're trying to keep this one tiny unit together, hoping that at the end of the day, you guys will have each other and have us. That is the whole logic. But when you guys fight, just so you guys know, when you guys even like show a hint of fighting, it causes a lot of stress in our lives. Do you know that?
No,
When have
it
we ever
shouldn't.
fought?
It causes stress in your life because you feel like you need to be the mediator. you feel like you need to be the god to come down and fix everything with
Yeah.
us.
We
Yeah.
don't even fight though.
No, but there are moments where like tensions get a little bit raised. There's
Yeah.
definitely been moments
Yeah.
between all three of us.
Yeah.
I know for a fact there's been moments between us, and there's definitely been moments between us too, where it's like,
But then who else is gonna fix it? What do
I
you
mean,
mean?
we'll fix it ourselves.
to
We're
trust us in
siblings.
our
Like you
relationship.
have to come in with like the freaking all the quotes and everything about how
Yeah,
it
like
needs to be.
quotes.
It's crazy. It's
And the
crazy.
movies.
Yeah.
Like the difference between mom and dad, it's crazy because just mom will just be just coming in and just screaming at us, just trying to get us to be regular again, and then dad will just be in his room sleeping. So it's just funny to see the contrast.
Can we talk about, and this is the reason why I was really excited about this topic, is talk about the secrets.
Yes.
And from a sibling's perspective, from either me to my sister or me to my brother,
Yeah.
at what point do you think that, like, if I told my sister a secret and I would expect her to not tell you or dad.
Oh.
That would be the expectation because that's my sibling. There's certain things that, we share between each other. But what is something like, for example, do you think that you would uphold that to any standard?
The only time I ever breach sibling secrecy is when I feel you are putting yourself in a position of danger or threat that I myself do not have any understanding of how to deal with. So for example, when you lost your phone in the movie theater or it was stolen, I didn't tell mom or dad any of that because I knew exactly how to handle that. I was like, okay, we need to find my iPhone. We need to go to the Apple store. We need to figure this out. And I will tell mom about it later. Like I knew that it was going to be sorted
And
out.
they dragged me at 12 a.m.
Well, I will get into that in a second because I actually do think.
And then the phone didn't work and they dragged me again.
Yes, we dragged Veer a lot. Honestly, okay, side note, if you have a younger sibling, you need to just drag that younger sibling to whatever you're doing. That is how you get close to your younger sibling. If you're going to the grocery store, if you're hanging out with friends, if you're going to an event, Veer and Bridge, and Veer especially because he's the youngest to both of us, has come to pretty much everything that we've ever done. Anytime I have an errand, I'm like, Veer, you're coming. And you know what? It's so much fun.
It is so much fun. It is. I watch it. It's a lot of fun.
But the only time I've ever breached sibling secrecy is when I feel like it's a little bit over my head, and I think that it's at a point where you're risking more than you're actually saving by not breaching sibling contract.
Okay, but here's the thing. There is no sibling secrecy without mom. Like, I know you can...
You are not a
What are you,
sibling.
what are you talking about?
No, but you can keep dad out of it, which I understand. You don't want to add to his stress, and his opinions are not going to fix anything anyway. But you have to tell me. You know that. Come on, Zoya. You must tell me.
No,
Tell
I
them the
don't.
truth.
There are a lot of things I haven't told you.
Like
actually.
what? What are you talking about?
what the-
No. Do you have
went to bed
secrets
2
from
hours
your
after.
sibling?
So, as you know, I have one brother, and we didn't grow up the same way as our kids have, in the sense that through high school years, I was in a different city and he was by himself. So even though we always had a lot of respect for each other and we've always helped each other, in fact, in the recent years, he has helped me tremendously in every possible way that a sibling can, but we didn't have that kind of day-to-day closer relationship the way our kids do.
It's true.
But that doesn't mean that we don't respect each other, and that doesn't mean that, as I already said, he's been beyond belief helpful in the last few years, in particular, in ways that has helped an entire family in many ways.
Yeah. No, without a doubt. His siblings. So you have a very different sibling relationship from what I understand, because you're not in the everyday weeds of each other's
Yes,
life.
that's what I meant to say.
But
So-
when you call each other, it's like that call is important and that's top priority and you're going to take
Yes,
it
correct.
right away.
Yes, that is how I
Right.
meant to say it. Yeah. And as our kids have grown up and as his two daughters have grown up, it's also led to us becoming closer as well, because
Yeah.
his daughters and our kids, they're all following similar paths. Our daughter is going to Stanford. His daughter started at Penn last year, and now her son is going to Cornell. Her younger daughter is now applying to college. So it's sort of created a lot of commonality.
Were you ever competitive with your sibling?
Never.
No?
Not even.
You don't remember thinking,
Always very respectful, because in the same college that I ranked something, he ranked like 10 times better than me.
IIT, you
yeah.
can say that. A lot of
In IIT, I
lot of
ranked-
our followers and viewers will know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so there's an exam that you take. I ranked 600 plus and he was 40 plus. So he was like really, really high up. And I remember thinking, and he and I went together to see his result, because in that time there was no internet, so you couldn't see it off of the web. You had to physically go to the university to look at your results. And I was there with him. I remember that.
When he got his
When he
result.
got his result. And he was actually disappointed because he thought you'll be even better.
One thing that, okay, that's an interesting thing. Somebody recently said to me, you know, Zoe, I knew you were smart, but like meeting Bridge and Veer, they're also really smart. Like it's kind of rare. In some families, it feels like it's rare. There's one kid that's like a standout kid and then two other kids that are like maybe not as smart. I like love that Bridge and Veer are smarter than me. I feel like they're both smarter than me in different ways. And
I mean,
like,
that's not a big hurdle to break, to be honest,
What?
to be smarter than you.
Wow.
But I'm just saying that I'm glad that you feel that way.
It's also a lie. Let's
she's
be
the
completely
smartest
honest.
one.
She's this. She and my brother are this. Okay, let's get into our dynamic.
We're all
it is
smart
very
in different
clear.
ways, though. She's
It is very
the
clear.
most book smart.
Okay, let's talk about sibling
He's the
dynamics.
most street
There-
smart, and I don't know where I'm at.
No sibling is gonna be the same to other unless you're like a
Yes.
twin sibling. Even then, the twin siblings I know are very, very different in their personalities. They can be similar in their looks, but very different in their personalities. So I think there's a lot to be said recently in my high school years where I got compared to my sister a lot. Like there was a lot of times where I've been, even today, I get compared to my sister all the time. And like, how do you think you're going to rank up? And when she got into Stanford, I remember all my friends telling me, oh, you're screwed. Now you have to get into Harvard or Stanford. Otherwise you're not like matching up. Right. I mean, obviously that makes sense. Like that's what people are going to say. They're always going to compare you to your siblings because in the eyes of people always view like the parents like look down on the siblings and like rule over them and say, okay, this is this, right? That's not how it is, but that's what people think. And that's what, you know, the dynamics work out to be. So I feel like there has to be some sort of honesty and also like understanding that siblings are different. And I think that my mom has been struggling a lot recently with understanding that me and my sister are very different in certain regards.
Yeah,
I'm
And-
she does
struggling.
struggle a
I've
lot.
got
I
it.
did not know that.
No, she definitely struggles.
I
a
don't know.
lot.
What are you talking about?
Because I follow the rules. I, as an adult, still call mom a lot and I still talk to mom a lot and I value her input a lot. Bridge in that way, which I really respect. And I think that's one of the best things about having siblings is you don't want your sibling to be the same as you. You want them to push you in different directions and to pursue things differently than you so that you can think about things and come up with your own definitions of what makes sense. And Bridge and I, in that way, I think push and pull each other in such an amazing way. So Bridge follows what he thinks is right a lot more frequently than what he does. He makes decisions without even consulting mom. For me, that's like a foreign concept. Before I make any decision, I'm like, Mom, what do you think? And I wish that I wasn't like that. I'm trying to be more like Bridge.
What are you talking about? Bridge, you and I talk all the time.
I'm not saying we don't talk. I'm just saying that all three of us are very different from each other,
Yeah.
right? And in very different ways. And that's just how siblings are going to be. But again, number one thing, when we're talking about the episode of being siblings, it's very important to recognize and appreciate that difference, like what she was saying, in each sibling. Like I'm extremely appreciative for the fact that like to see how a life would be listening to mom all the time and see like how your thought process works. Even when she's not around, sometimes you just embody what my mom would think. Like sometimes you don't need to call her because you know what she's going to say.
Yeah.
Right? And
That's true.
with Veer, I think he's a little bit more similar to me in like the way that he doesn't like always need to ask mom about everything. But he's a lot more similar to you in the way that he needs to be like the most clean person ever and is super organized, right? Like I'm obviously the least organized of the three. So it's like there's so many differences, but we all like leech off each other in certain ways, which is really important.
And we all respect each other
We all
for our
respect,
differences.
which holds
Yeah.
everything up.
Yeah.
And I think that as parents now, because what I want to talk about in this episode a lot was like the difference between parental relationship and sibling relationship, because it's your job as being like dad's best friend and wife to like talk. Like I'm sure you guys talk about this all the time in like the ways on your walks of like what's going on in our lives, how you can improve. And I know you always are looking for ways to improve the three of our lives and make everything easier. That's even though you don't want to, you always do. And
I'm trying to stop. It's true.
yeah. And I think that one thing that, you know, you're so used to raising Didi a lot, I think that I push a lot of what you thought would be like the same as her, because it's not. Like, for example, I'm not the type, sometimes at night I'll go out until like 2 a.m. and come home at like 2:30 a.m. Or sometimes I'll travel a little bit farther away to go for like an event and then come home, which my mom's not used to because my sister never really did that. Not because she was in accordance, she just doesn't like to do like certain things that are late at night. She likes to like stay home, enjoy her time, which is totally fair and I respect it. But I'm a little bit different,
Also,
right?
rules for boys and girls can be a little different.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
It's true.
No,
He means it in a whole different way
No,
than
no,
what
no.
you're saying.
What do you mean it?
The way you understood it, that,
Yeah.
you know, the girls, we were a little more anxious about Zoya's security.
No, I'm anxious about his security. all
I
the
know,
time.
but like it's still a little different, right? Come on.
Yeah, but shut up. It's not a girl. But yeah, okay, fine.
Okay, anyways, I wanna say my favorite thing about having siblings. My favorite thing about having siblings is the failure, like the feedback. And the way I like to think about this is with a broken light switch. So if there's two people and one person goes into a room and they flip a light switch and it electrocutes them, and they walk out the room and they tell the next person walking in, I tried to flip that light switch and it electrocuted me. The next person who walks in, are they still going to try and flip that light switch?
Probably, hopefully not.
Exactly.
No.
That's what I'm saying. So if they make that failure, if he makes that failure, she makes that failure,
How
then
do you
I'm not
come
going
up
to make
with
the
this?
same failure.
Yeah.
He's so smart.
Did you just come up with it yourself or did you read it somewhere?
No, I came up with it myself. But still, that's besides the point. What I'm saying is that if them two make a failure,
But that
then-
was that was an example of something dangerous. What about more natural examples of
yeah, but
eating
that's
habits
just
and-
supposed to represent everything else. I'm saying if them two make a
No,
failure,
but that's a good question. What about something like, what if I said, Veer, you like cookies and cream milkshake? What if I said, Veer, never drink another cookies and cream milkshake, it's bad for you? Would you just stop drinking it? Or it makes me feel bad, should you stop drinking it? But if Didi says the same thing, right? Like there's some things you need to discover by yourself and make
Yes.
your own like decisions based off of. I think the best part of having siblings is to be able to get that advice from them, and and you know the advice you're getting is perfectly in line with the values of what you're trying to accomplish, which is what I was saying in the beginning. Because I know for a fact that if my sister accomplishes something, that actually helps the whole family. It helps everyone involved, right? So I will do whatever I can in order to make sure she accomplishes that thing, the same way that I'm 100% sure that she would do the same thing for me and do the same thing for Veer. And I think that's what makes it so like unique, because I can have a best friend in the world. For example, I've had very good friends too, right? I still have very good friends, but even sometimes I can't rely on them to give me the most pure exact advice, because everyone has their own interests in some ways or regards, right?
And their own biases.
Their own biases,
Yeah.
of course. So
Yeah.
it's like the advice you get from your siblings are perfectly honest. Which
I
What
only
about you
tr-
and your siblings?
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, can I say one thing about mom and her siblings?
Yeah.
I love that my mom is the youngest of her family, because hearing one of the best things about, everybody always talks about grandparents, right? Like, and we're kind of close with dad's parents, but like mom's parents passed away when we were pretty young, or before we were even born and all that. One thing I love about mom's siblings is getting to hear about how mom was growing up. If you have like aunts and uncles, like you need to ask them, what was your parent like growing up? Because nobody understands a person better than their siblings. And hearing the stories of how mom was so rebellious and she was so loud and she never took anybody's like anything. She was super aggressive. It's the best thing ever. And she has this oldest brother who is so good to her. Like, I love hearing about mom from her siblings.
they tell you everything I told you already. There's no secrets.
They give
over
me
there.
all the secrets.
There's no secret. So I'm very close to my siblings. I'm the youngest of 4. And I really believe that we helped each other survive some really difficult times in life. In fact, my experience with my siblings is why I wanted to make sure I gave my kids siblings. And I know that there are families that choose to have one child and there's an only child for any number of reasons. And then they make other situations. They are cousins, they are best friends. There's like all kinds of accommodations that people make to create a sibling relationship, and they all work in different setups in different ways for their own families. So there's no judgment here, but we were very like keen on having a larger set of kids, at least 2 and more if we could, because of this reason, because I'm the youngest of 4 and we've lost both our parents early in life. And if we didn't have each other, it would be a much harder existence, without a doubt. Now, are they irritating and overbearing and always trying to get in my business and do all of that? Yes, that is equally as true. And all their kids are very sweet and kind, and I have a great relationship with the kids. But the parents, sometimes they WhatsApp on the family chat, and I just mute it and I ignore the whole thing.
Mom, you're so the typical youngest sibling.
So we do not need 50 WhatsApps on like what we're gonna eat for Diwali. It is too much for me. It is really too much for me. But with all the irritation in the world, I would not trade the relationship I have with any one of them. And just like my husband's brother has helped him tremendously and helped all of us in the last few years, my siblings have helped me in my life. And I've done my best to be there for them when they need us. So it's a huge relationship without a doubt. And I know a lot of people who have all kinds of little fractured situations with their siblings, or there's an ego relationship, there's an ego problem that's stopping them from talking to each other. I hope this episode makes you feel like making that call.
Yeah.
Like if something is holding you back from reaching out to your sibling, maybe take the note from today's episode and just bite the bullet and make that call to your sibling or to your relative that you've been holding back from, and just say, I've been thinking about you. Don't get into the past, don't get into the future. Just say, I've been thinking about you, and see what happens. What is the worst that will happen? They will say, I'm not thinking about you, and hang up.
Veer, do you ever feel pressure that Didi is at Stanford, Bhaiya is going to Cornell?
Like we actually made a video about this, me and mom. We did a therapy session, but
Almost therapy session.
it definitely is pressuring, but I kind of don't feel. I think name brands are overrated. I'm with mom on this. So I feel like even if I went to a smaller college, I don't think that would limit how successful I could be.
Yeah, Veera.
Who has brainwashed you like this?
Dad, the fact that
I'm
you
hoping
live
that
in
you are
this,
the kid that will go to the two colleges both my kids other two kids did not apply to, which is
I
Princeton
mean, obviously,
University.
it would be great to go to a Princeton, a Harvard, but I don't think it's as important as you guys make it out to be.
it's not.
It's
and
not.
we don't make it. I don't want you
I
to
have
think
never-
that Bridge has never made it that way. I definitely inherited. I think I had a chip on my shoulder for a long time of wanting to prove that I was intelligent and wanting to prove
It's
that
also different for women.
I think it is a little bit different for women. I don't know. I mean, there's a whole child psychology reason why I probably felt that way. But I definitely had a chip on my shoulder, and I don't think it actually meant anything necessarily. I think that you're right on the money about that. One thing that I think is really amazing about having siblings is siblings hold you accountable for good behavior. So for example, one thing that's so important to me is leading by example. And actually, whatever I preach, actually putting that into my life. Because even if my brothers and I, we don't have, it's not like a sister relationship. It's not like we're talking about our emotions and our feelings all the time and stuff like that. But I know that they're watching me. And I know that when I exhibit good behavior, even if they don't want to do the exact same thing as me, it influences them. And that's
For
super
example,
important
you used to
me.
have this rule that you'll never date a boy who doesn't have a sister. Can you explain that?
Yeah. So,
I mean, you broke that recently. But you did have that rule.
But okay, one of my dating rules, everybody has their own dating rules. One thing that I have learned from my siblings is I think Bridge and Veer are extraordinarily emotionally intelligent men. Off the charts. They can talk about
Take
their
after
feelings.
their dad. You can say that.
I think they got influenced by me, their oldest sister, but yeah. I think when you grow up with a sister and you have a sister that they watched me go through puberty, they're not afraid of talking about a girl having a period. They're not afraid of emotional breakdowns. They've seen me through all of these crazy things that have happened with me. They've also seen me when I'm up, when I'm down. I think when you grow up with a woman, not just having a strong woman figure, that's amazing. And many men get influenced by that, but actually seeing a woman go through all the phases, I think shapes a guy in a very different way because they're not
So
afraid.
then would it be flip side where it would be, I would never date a girl without a brother? Would it be like that for me?
Maybe.
Hell
I mean,
no.
I definitely have been influenced by you guys. So for example, I'm very athletic. I love my athletics. I love being sporty. I don't know if I think that's in many ways because that's how we used to hang out and that's how we still hang out.
I don't think that the reverse works.
Yeah.
Because the world generally is predisposed to accommodating men, right?
Yeah.
It's the women that need to be more understood and more accommodated. So I
Yeah.
think that the reverse is less applicable. I think
I grew up with just a brother, and I do accept that having seen a girl grow up as a daughter in my household made me understand women a lot better because the girl's mother was impossible to understand to start with. But the girl herself, as she grew up from a child to a teenager to a woman, was very helpful in understanding women.
was that all kinds of daggers just coming at me? The girl's mother is sitting right here. And I can hear you, Shalaf. I can hear you. No, but I do think that the sibling relationship, the one thing I agree with you, Zoya, on completely is this idea that you become the example. And especially since you're the oldest, I know that because you don't drink and you don't do drugs and you don't smoke or vape and all of that, it made Bridge less likely to do it. And then because you both don't do it, it makes Veer even less likely to do it.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that, Veer?
Yeah.
Do you think you're influencing Veer in that way?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Do you think you were influenced by
I
her?
also feel like Veer's just not the type of person.
I know, but he's not. No, he's
No,
not.
I agree.
But I
definitely would have.
If you were bringing alcohol home or
definitely
there were
would've-
vape cartridges all over your room, it would be a different situation. You know,
I
where-
definitely would have like drank or smoked if it wasn't for Didi.
Right?
I think it's not even just an oldest sibling thing though. Like there are things that Veer and Bridge do that lead by example and then make me really want to do. And
Did you not drink or smoke because you never wanted to, or was it just because mom scared you?
I did not drink or smoke because I felt that culture of drinking and smoking in New York City was one that was very cyclical and very addictive. So not necessarily alcohol. Alcohol is obviously an addictive compound, but one thing that I was and I'm still so intense about is my time, right? I want to be making sure that any hour that I'm spending just enjoying and relaxing are hours that are put in productivity in some other way. Whether that's like spending those hours doing grooming, spending those hours like with my family, spending those hours resting. Like I am anal about my time. And one thing that I seemed to notice at a very young age when I was like 15 was these people that would go to parties and start drinking, they had so much FOMO about missing the good party that was coming up eventually, or like FOMO about missing like the good drug experience that was eventually going to come. Like it was always like, oh, that party was okay, but next weekend's party is going to be insane and so hot and whatever. And I just, from a very young age, I just began to notice that this was just a concept and that it didn't seem like it was ever going to end. So I think actually it was to answer your question, Veer, I think it was just me being really protective of my time.
And, I think that that's another thing, a value system that evolves with the parents and the siblings. What are the things that we do that value our time, right? Like you guys have made it a priority to work out. But that's also started as a domino effect. One started working out, then the other one did it, then the third one did it. And actually, because of these three, maybe I would say you also got inspired.
No question about it.
Right?
100%.
It started this whole chain of relationship building with different habits because we also all living. But what's one bad thing about having a sibling? What's one downside? There has to be a downside. Somebody's in your business all the time. You, I know, have a problem when somebody messes up your room.
Oh my god. Yeah, I can go on a literal. I'm gonna do a TED talk about this. Okay. It's not just having a sibling, it's having him as a sibling. He loves to keep my room dirty by leaving dishes. I'm not a germaphobe, but I love keeping my room clean. Just because that's just something I've just started doing over time. Like I love keeping my bathroom tidy, keeping like everything folded, whatever. And he loves to get on my nerves about
Hold on,
that.
he has his own room.
But they sleep in the same room.
Yeah, when she's back, she gets his room,
she's getting
whatever.
her
But whenever I'm sharing a room with him, most miserable days of my life.
What does he do exactly?
Leaves bowls all over the place. Never closes the door. Leaves, like, he just won't take his dishes outside. It's not that hard. It's never that difficult. And whenever he showers, he never wants to clean the water off the floor. He has this thing about using towels for like 5 days, whatever.
Oh my god, what are you talking about? Me? He washes his towels after every use.
No, after every 2 years.
Every single time he uses the shower, he'll wash the towel. Do you know how insane that is?
Like using the washing machine. Actually.
Yes.
No,
That's
I'm not.
good.
Auntie does
Why
it
would you
and
mean
you
that's
do it.
good? Every shower?
No,
Every other
2
shower
showers.
is good.
You're crazy. Most people don't wash their towels for like days.
Yeah, but you're already washing it by using it on a wet body. Why do you need to wash it?
What?
That is not how.
What did he? Where?
Like
Okay.
you're using a towel to clean a wet body, right?
Okay,
So
yeah.
isn't the act of doing it, washing it also the towel?
Yes, this is hygiene from Ghaziabad. This is a hygiene episode from Ghaziabad about to come into the chat. No, but what are the other bad things of having a sibling? I can tell you. Oh my God, I'm going to get so crushed for this episode. I'm telling you right now. 2 of my siblings have 3 kids each. One sibling has 1 kid. Everybody's going to get married. Everybody's going to get engaged. Now, me personally, I don't like weddings. I actually hate weddings. Not this one's wedding or that one's wedding. I don't like anybody's weddings. I'm happy. Just send me a postcard. I don't need to be there. I don't want to wear the outfitting. I don't want to watch the stuff on the just do an IG live for 5 minutes. It's plenty for me. I wish everybody and huge amounts of success and all my blessings. I would send the biggest gift. If I didn't have to be involved, I would send an even bigger double-sized gift. But having siblings has meant the graduations and the this and because I understand it's customary. It's how family shows up. I get it. But in my life, it is a big downside. I really don't like it. I really don't like it. And I smile and I stand there. I do everything. And this has nothing to do with now me being a comic and people knowing me who I was. I was always like this. 15 years, I hate wedding clothes, hate with a big capital H. With 3 kids, I hated putting them in Indian clothes. Oh my God, it was misery, crying from minute 1 to minute 100. Everybody not wanting to wear these itchy, shiny clothes and stuffing them into them. The whole thing, I used to be thinking, my God, please, everybody run away and get married. We're fine. Just send a postcard. So that is one downside in my life.
That you have to go to these weddings and participate in
and actually represent in a way, in a real meaningful way, which I feel like I shouldn't even say because my siblings represent me constantly and in the best of ways. They're so good. They show up, they're smiling. I'm just not that person and I bend over backwards trying to be that
person. You do come across as a little
person.
selfish in that description.
Oh my God, Dad.
Does she or does she not? Like,
Dad,
can we take a vote
when
on
was
this?
the last time you went to any wedding?
I know.
I mean, you won't even go.
No, and he'll go and sit in the back and scroll on his phone and then I'm stuck talking to everybody.
You know what? You try and put Veer in one of those itchy outfits when he's 5.
Yeah. All the crying.
I hate
The
weddings,
amount of crying he did at one of the weddings after 4 events. The 5th event, I put him in an itchy outfit again.
Yeah, because
and
Indian
he's like, they're
weddings are
still not
ridiculous. They're
married.
like 4 days
he
long.
started weeping. He's like, they've been married now. I wore it 4 times already.
And that's so fair.
And it was so, oh my God, I do not enjoy. Even now as a grown up by myself, it's not my favorite thing.
One thing that I think is challenging sometimes about having siblings is
incoming bridge.
no, I think one thing that Bridge talked about is we love that we're all different. I love that. But sometimes trusting that your sibling is different from you and still going to figure it out and still going to even if they diverge in the path that you would have taken, that's a very hard thing, at least for me, is like I think I can be a little bit of a control freak. Like a little bit. Like not that much, but maybe a little bit. And sometimes like even with Bridge, like I obviously care about Bridge's success so much. Like I feel like I'm not a parent to Bridge, but I'm his best. I want him to win. And some of the ways that he would have approached like high school or like studying, they're all different than the way I would have. And as a sibling, I think it's really hard for me sometimes to like take a step back and just like trust. Like I just want to be like, let me just do all of your college applications for you. Like that was the way that I wanted to do it. And obviously like mom intervened and didn't let me do that. But that's something that I have an itch for as a sibling that I'm not very good at.
I'm happy to let you do all my college applications.
I have a question for you guys. Do you guys think that your dad and I play favorites?
No.
Yes.
Kind
Really?
of. Yeah, I guess I was on the
Okay.
good side of that.
Who?
So.
What? Okay,
I think
you.
both of your favorites are Didi.
For both of us, the favorite is
I don't
Didi?
feel that way at all. I don't feel that way at all. I feel like dad's favorite is definitely either one of you two. And I think mom...
What do you mean? Can you elaborate when you say favorites?
Like we play favorites in decision making and the things we.
Like we feed one person more.
I don't think you make. I think
Not
you.
let the
I
other
think,
one
you have,
starve.
I think you have favoritism by. I don't think you have favoritism by personalities, but rather by age. Like I think I got the good side of more stuff when I was young, and they were like now Didi and Baya are about to go to college. But I mean, when I was young and they were both still at home. Like, I would get the good side even if I did something bad. But if they did the same thing, they'd get screamed at and put on top of the fireplace.
On top of the fire.
Yeah, that story is pretty crazy.
No, I mean, I think there is favoritism. I'm not going to lie. But I don't think that for what you point, I don't think it's that. I don't think Zoya is dad's.
Definitely not.
Dad definitely favors you.
Yeah.
I don't think that's true at all.
Oh,
You don't know-
we see
yeah,
it.
we
I see it all
all
the
the
You
time.
guys are just
No, I see it all the time.
It's
And
been
then
that way since I was like 0.
0. What? He wasn't born.
No, it's been that way even when like waiting for the son.
And I definitely probably favor Zoya, and then the two of you protect Veer in whatever way that you do, because you do cover for him all the time, and he does. Veer is not as afraid as you guys are.
Veer
Is that fair?
instills fear in you guys.
Like you guys did a lot of things because you were afraid of what we would say.
Yeah.
But somehow that fear is just not there in Veer.
Yeah, you threaten Veer with the same tactics as us, and he can see through you in like 2 seconds.
Yeah,
He's
because
too
there's
smart.
nothing. I don't understand. There's just nothing scary.
No. Okay, so let me flip it. Do you guys have a favorite between me and Dad? Aha.
Dad.
Mom.
The what?
Dad.
Veer, you did not just say
I'm
that.
just kidding. I'm saying that for the episode. But equal.
Mom,
towards Dad.
Bridge, yeah?
I don't have a favorite. I think I'm obviously closer with you, as in we talk literally
It's
every minute.
favoritism depending on the activity. Like if it's something where I actually need like help, it'll be you. But if it's like, I'm trying to think, like playing pickleball, Dad is just more competitive. And
What?
That's a
That is the most
crazy
enjoy
basic.
competitive.
That is the craziest
I will
thing
say,
ever.
We have the best pickleball.
In my-
so mean.
That, oh my God,
Just
Bridge.
broke her heart.
I
Oh
like
my
playing pickleball
God.
with you, but you do not like to play
In my
competitively.
early adult life, I've taken more advice from Dad than I have from you.
Oh my
I have.
God. Just
Because
say
Dad
stab me with a knife. Why don't you,
there are
Zoya?
different things that you go to for different parents. Like you go to parents for different things, and Dad in recent years has been, I think, a lot more understanding of my shortcomings as a person and as somebody who's trying to learn how to be an adult. Like, whereas I think with you, like, I think you seeing me like do things that maybe you would disagree with, like, it almost makes you feel like you are doing something wrong because we're like codependent or something. So, like, when I do something wrong and Dad can objectively understand the best path forward, like that kind of advice has been really pivotal for me.
I don't know about all this, but Veer and I mean, I'm telling you right now, might be the second time ever or the first time I'm going to assign an F grade.
Oh my
Because
God.
I cannot believe the level of betrayal that goes
actually
on
can't
in
believe
this
that
family.
either. That
Dad,
was
do you
insane.
think you have favorites?
I don't think so. I don't think I have favorites.
Yeah, I don't think he favors me at all. I think that's just like
Oh my
propaganda that you
God,
guys
that
think because
is
he's like a
not
guy.
a truth. Anything happens, he's like, no, but Veer, Bridge looks just like me. Bridge is, oh, please. Even Dadi favors you completely.
Yeah, no, Dadi does.
Dadi's barely in our lives. You guys
Bird.
acting like
No,
she's like,
when you were born, there was a big party at a 5-star hotel in Delhi celebrating your birth, and we dragged her along. And she's like in the photos somewhere in the back.
Great. Thanks, guys.
But this has been our episode on sibling relationships. I'm sure you guys have lots to add about your siblings. Who is your favorite? Tag your siblings in this episode. Watch it with your siblings. Ask them to watch it and ask them, what is your least favorite thing about being my sibling? I'm telling you, I'm terrified that my siblings are going to watch this and find out for the first time in their lives that those weddings were not fun for us to attend.
They know already that you don't like those.
They didn't know that.
It's pretty obvious.
I put on a very good
You
show.
don't actually.
I
You
put
tell
on
them
an
to their
Oscar
face.
level-
Why are
No.
we doing this?
Okay, all right. I put on a really good show. But thank you so much for watching. And as we end every episode with a round of good grades with Gargs, we are going to end this episode too with the same round where each of us Garg assigns another Garg an A grade based on who brought the winning comment on this episode. The education, the entertainment, the emotional moment of the episode. So who wants to go first?
Veer gets the A grade because that comment about Bridge not keeping his room clean and how he is frustrated as a sibling is so funny and it's so true.
I'm gonna upload photos on my mom's Instagram after this of my room in shambles just because of how my brother has left it.
Okay, who wants to go next? Who wants to go next?
I'll give my A grade to Veer as well, just because he spoke the same example. It was just really funny.
Also, the Lightroom one. The
light,
light, the
yeah.
switch
The light
was really
switch.
great.
I was going to
broken.
give my A grade to Veer too for the light switch example.
Yeah, that was great.
Really? The light switch example? Okay. Veer, who do you give it to?
No, I want you to give yours first
Okay, why?
because I just want to see something.
You are not getting an A grade. Are you delusional? You're getting the world's
After
first
what you
F
did
grade.
there.
Yeah, after what you did, you may as well take a knife between you and your sister. Both stabbed me today. For that reason alone, I give my A grade to my son Bridge. Because both of them came at me from different...
What did I do?
You got better advice from your dad.
I just said early adult life.
One of us is on the phone till 2-3 in the morning every time you take an airplane
So
tracking
you
your
don't have
airplane.
the experience of life the way I do, right? That makes a difference.
That is not what I said.
thank you.
You're not going to be able to advise a grown
You give him an inch.
if I
You give him an
hadn't-
inch. He takes like literally.
If I
5
hadn't-
happy you did
That's
this?
not what
If I
I.
hadn't had made the pickleball comment, would I have gotten the A grade?
I'm now never. That's a mystery we will never solve.
I'm just worried about my best friend
I'm
waiting.
self-distributing my A grade to myself.
What?
Because that gives me the first official clean sweep, and I'll take that with happiness.
Mom hasn't given it to you yet.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
Mama's
you
not
get
giving
hers.
it.
I'm willing to take that chance that she would have given it to me.
Anyway, this was our episode on sibling rivalry, sibling envy, sibling love, sibling everything. We can't wait to hear about your family. Thank you so much for tuning in. Bye from the
Bye.
Gargs.